podcast, the Passion Project podcast, with me, Ramiro, and Mustafa Ben Salah.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing, sir?
You know, I'm actually still doing great, but, you know, we had a little setback this morning.
Yeah, I'm so mad. We actually recorded a fantastic podcast with Anthony Lamacchia, the real estate guy, but it crapped out, and I'm so bad with I'm just not technologically savvy, so whenever something craps out, I never know what to do. My default is pull the plug, count to 20, and plug it back in. That's it. Everything else, I don't know. Like if a program crashes or something, I'm like, what do you do? Oh, just download this, and I'm like, well, then what? So
I'm not gonna lie, I knew within like the first 30 seconds I opened the computer.
Really?
I just I was quiet for 5 because I turned on my technology brain. I was surfing through everything. I was like, it has to be here somewhere, and then I pulled the plug and told you.
It sucks.
What are we gonna do?
Well, eventually AI will figure out a way to get stuff that gets corrupted or gets deleted forever.
Whatever. I mean,
do you know that they're working on with AI, besides all the amazing medical advances and all that cool stuff, they're working on creating a hypoallergenic cat, but that's not like a hairless cat. You know the hairless cats? Mm-hmm. Not Siamese. Are they Siamese? Whatever.
No.
The Sphinx?
Something like that,
yeah. The ugly ones.
Yeah.
Some people, they love them. I think those are the... You could not have an uglier pet than a hairless cat, in my opinion. But those are the ones that sometimes people get because they like them or because they love cats, but they're allergic. But they're, I guess, I don't know how. Just because AI knows everything, they're now working on creating a cat with hair that somehow is hypoallergenic, which is a beautiful thing because I have 3 cats and I'm not allergic, but I'm not allergic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like my cats will get on me and I can have them on my lap for a while, petting them and stuff. But after a while, I start getting I don't even know, just irritated.
Yeah.
Not annoyed, just kind of a little itchy or a little sniffly. So it's there's a level to my...
Do you have allergies? Do you have seasonal allergies?
I never had. I feel like I might have developed some.
Yeah.
Growing up, I never did. The most I do is when it's hot outside. I think it's when it's high pollen or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk out of my house or I'll walk out of a building, and the first thing I'll do is sneeze. And that's when I'll know there's high pollen. But other than that, I don't get itchy eyes or any of that nonsense that people get. I like being outside when it's hot.
Oh, I get wicked bad allergies.
Do you really?
Oh my God. It's pretty embarrassing how bad it gets. Yeah.
What are you allergic to?
I don't know. I think dust and pollen, but then I also get allergies in the fall. I'm not a spring allergy guy. I'm a fall allergy guy, which sucks.
What the hell's a fall allergy?
So in the spring, there's high pollen because things are blooming. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is from my mind.
Yeah.
Things are blooming. But in the fall, when everything's kind of dying, whatever remnants that's falling.
Really?
Yeah. And then certain cats and certain dogs. I grew up with my best friend's dog my whole life. God bless her, Maya. And I was never sick. Never, ever, ever sick. But if I go around a new cat or a new dog, it's bad. My friends, I get this red mark in between my eyebrows.
I know what you're talking about because my daughter, she doesn't get it because of allergies, though. We used to call her turkey timer. She doesn't really get it anymore, but when she was younger, whenever she would get mad, it would just light up.
Yeah, I have it too, but that's when my allergies happen.
Really?
Yeah, once I start sneezing, after the third sneeze, it'll pop up, and that's an indicator. My friends know what's about it, and it gets bad.
You have a turkey timer?
Yeah, it gets really bad. It's really bad.
So did you have to do the whole where they give you a bunch of when you do an allergy test, don't they poke you with a bunch of needles?
No, I never done one of those.
Oh, you never did it? No. So you just kind of
just
when you eyeball something?
Through life experience, I'm okay, yeah.
So, and you've always had that, or you developed it as you
I think when I hit puberty, I think.
Yeah. So what else are you allergic to?
Nothing, just that. Season allergy stuff, like fur or pollen. My best friend's dad, we were in New Hampshire one weekend, and normally we would go with the family, but he took just the guys, I said, I really need allergy meds. I was like 13, so I gave him like $100 for the weekend or something. And I said, can you please buy me allergy meds? It's not good. Like I can't function.
Wow.
He didn't read the package. He gave me 4 Benadryl.
You passed out.
I know, I was high. I was literally messed up. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
That's crazy. See, I never had allergies, so I don't know I don't understand the struggle.
It's the worst in the heat.
Yeah.
I hate when it activates when it's hot out. It's the worst.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a friend who had crazy allergies, and he was, including cats. And his wife, when they got together, she had 2 cats. She might have had 1 cat or one or 2 cats. Anyway, in the marriage, 4 cats. She just kept on getting cats. Instead of like removing cats, like this is when you know a marriage is gonna.
She keeps getting cats.
She kept on getting cats. I'm like, yo, she's trying to kill you, or she's trying to like make it that you can't enter the house. But he said, no, you know, what I just do is I always take Benadryl before I go to bed. But then what happened was he'd get mad because, again, I don't know the allergy life or the taking medicine consistently life. I guess he had like a time frame from when he took his Benadryl to when, like, not so much that he fell asleep, but that he couldn't like perform sexually. So
That'll do it.
So let's
That'll
say
end the marriage.
I don't know. So let's say he took it at 8:00, right? He's got till, I'm just gonna throw 8:30. Let's say it could have been less. I don't know. It could have been less. Could have been more. But whatever his window was, he like if he took one, because he'd be like, I would take it as late as possible before like I couldn't handle it anymore. But then he'd try and get romantic with his wife, and if she didn't do it in that window, now he can't do it. And then he'd get mad at her. So like it just so many random, you'll be shocked at what ruins people's marriages. Everyone always thinks it's like cheating or like the husband blows all the money gambling and stuff, and those things happen, but a lot of times it's little small mini consistent battles that end up destroying the whole thing. Like that, you would never think a random cat allergy or taking Benadryl and not banging before your 30-minute boner window dies.
Yeah, exactly. Who knew that Benadryl was anti-Viagra, I guess.
Yo, hilarious.
I'm a Claritin D guy.
Are you?
Yeah, it's an antihistamine. You got to show your ID at, the pharmacy counter to get it.
Why is it like
It works like instantly. It's so expensive compared to like the other like allergy drugs.
Yeah.
Like it's like $30 for a pack of like 6. It's something crazy like that.
But why do you need to show ID? Does it have like something that you can make crystal meth in?
I have no idea. That's every time I go, they're like, I have to pick up a card and I bring it and they ask for my ID. But it works like instantly. Like I have an emergency pack I have one in my car, in my room.
Really?
Yeah, in college, I had one in my backpack just in case.
See, it's so funny. Since I don't have allergies, and luckily none of my kids, at least I would know. Well, my youngest son, he's probably, we call him sensitive skin boy. He's probably the most, like he like pineapples he can't do. He kind of breaks out. And there's a random, is it grape? I guess I should know this. I think it's like grape flavored medicine that it's just easy
like random things. Yeah.
It's easy to manage.
Yeah.
You know, if there's fruit, it's like, don't have the pineapple. It's going to suck for you. And if we get him like, if he needs to take Tylenol or something, we're like, yo, just get him the bubblegum flavor. Like it's easy. But I have friends whose kids have a million. I'm like,
a million different things.
Oh, and I'm like, how do you even manage that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you go to birthday parties and things
You're like hyper aware all the time. It must suck. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you have like a crazy peanut allergy, right?
Yeah. My nephew has one. Yeah.
Okay. So like he's probably never been to a Texas Roadhouse.
I don't think so.
No, because they like.
Well, they don't have the peanuts on the floor anymore.
Oh, they don't.
No, because of peanut allergies. Now they have them in like a sealed bag that you can like they give to you if you want one, but they don't have it like they used to because of that.
Yeah. Can he do like a Red Sox game or something?
He's been, but I don't think they get anything because everything's like fried in peanut oil.
Yeah.
He has to be like he has to be very hyper aware of everything.
Yeah.
And his sister has celiac.
And that's the gluten thing,
Gluten free,
right?
yeah.
And what happens with her with that?
She just can't have gluten.
Does she break out and stuff? I have a friend who
She
has
gets
that.
like violently nauseous.
Oh, she gets
Like
nauseous.
she gets like she vomits and she gets really bad stomach aches. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I had a friend who's. I feel like the gluten stuff. Some people do it because it's trendy. They're like, oh, I'm gluten free, and then there's the people who legit are like, I have celiac.
Yeah, but
I
this
can't-
stuff did not exist when I was a kid. All I knew was a peanut allergy. That's all I knew.
I didn't know anything. I didn't. From the first thing I heard of was a peanut allergy, probably, and then from there I would hear about things, but there is something that we are being exposed to on a daily basis. I mean, part of it I think is what we're eating that's messing
Yeah.
people up, but I think more of it is just what we're being exposed to that we don't even realize, like on a daily basis. Like whatever, you're freaking mopping your floor, the chemical smells of that.
Yeah.
Guys going to work, doing certain things, working with certain chemicals. Who knows what they're spraying our food or plastic bottles with? Because all this stuff, I'm sure maybe in a small percentage it existed back in the day, but it's just crazy now.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's crazy. Like peanuts, eggs. Wait till you have kids. There's certain things that they're like, don't give them this until the only thing I know that's bad is to give them right away is honey.
Yeah, honey. Yeah.
Honey. But other stuff, people will have debates. They'll be like, don't give them eggs for 2 or 3 years, and then other people will say, no, give them eggs because that way they're exposed to it, so they don't develop an allergy.
What's the honey reason? Because their esophagus is too small.
No, the honey it has you could get. Hold on. Why you shouldn't give babies honey? There's a term. It can cause infant botulism. It's a rare but serious food poisoning.
Whoa.
Yeah, botulism. That's the only one that they're like, do not do it. But all the other stuff with our kids, we give them like sooner.
You see, growing up though, like even though I was a chunky boy, I am a chunky boy. My parents did not allow. My mom specifically did not allow hardly any junk food in the house.
Oh really?
Like when I would go to my best friend's house, I'd pig out.
Yeah.
Like with my godmom, the one you met.
Yeah.
She had all the snacks. But when I was home, like it'd be like once in a while, she'd pick up like this or she'd pick up like that. You know what I mean? Or like if I went out with my sister, they would get me some. But like barely had any junk food.
Not in the Torres household.
No, but you see, I'm not gonna be like that though, because now growing up, I'm like, I like this, I like that. Like, how do you like deprive potato chips from a kid? You know, it's like a rite of passage growing up.
Yeah,
But,
it's hard. Like we try and keep it relatively healthy, but at the same time, we're not crazy about it.
Yeah, no.
You know, they have snacks because when they go to hang out with their friends and stuff like that.
My sister's friend, she makes her kids homemade Cheez-Its because she is so against seed oils and all that. And she always posts on her Instagram story like, sourdough Cheez-Its, make it for the kids. I don't care if it takes me 2 hours. My kids aren't eating XYZ. And I'm like, yo, more power to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish.
I mean,
I'm a terrible baker.
There's so much crap. Like, people will say things like, read the ingredients list, right? And then you have the people who argue and go, if there are ingredients in your food, that's a negative right there. The ingredient should be the food.
Yeah.
So
I agree with I try lately for the most part. I've been trying to eat a whole foods diet. So I've been trying to like all my meals are just like real things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a vegetable, a meat, some sort of natural starch or carb, whatever, nothing too crazy. As I'm sipping an Alani that's full of chemicals. But you know what I mean? Like that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
So I that part I get. Because because you don't realize how much nonsense you're consuming with the sauces and XYZ, you know what I mean? Why are we talking about this again?
Well, we're talking about allergies.
Oh, we're talking about allergies. Yeah, I was like, how did we get into, the food consumption world?
No, it's funny because, okay, eggs, peanuts, those are all natural foods, right? So it definitely has to be something chemical wise that we're being exposed to or consuming that's making us allergic to these natural things. Does that make sense? Because how many people have you met that are like, I'm allergic to Sprite? I'm
Yeah, no, you're right.
No one's allergic to chips.
I'm allergic to high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, no one's allergic. How many people do you know that are allergic to ketchup? You have people that don't like ketchup, don't like chips, don't like soda, but no one has ever said I'm allergic to it. And it's crazy because that's all artificial crap.
Yeah.
So it has to be something that we've consumed, and somebody needs to do a study and go like make a chart and go, wait a minute, when this started being,
I'm sure there's a Netflix documentary on this.
yeah, when this started being, when potato chips started really being mass produced, all of a sudden the rates of people being allergic to whatever started going up. It has to be something like that.
Oh, I totally believe it. Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
to be allergic to something that's natural versus something that's not supposed to be in your body just doesn't make sense.
Can I tell you my least favorite type of people?
What?
I'm just gonna add to the list because I feel like I tell them
You're
this every
allergic
week.
to people?
I'm like, let me tell you. No, I love people, which is so funny. I met people that say they hate people, they hate public. Like I'm not like that. I enjoy people, but when I meet certain types of people that I can't stand, it makes me question that. One of my least favorite type of people are the people that are so obsessively healthy. This is a good topic. I have questions, guys. This is supposed to be a very fun episode.
Our
you know what I mean?
Might end.
But I don't know. This might go into a different scenario, but we'll switch it over in like five minutes. I don't like the people that are hyper. What's the word?
Hyper health conscious?
No, not hyper. That's fine. That's fine. I think it's good to take care of your health. You're kind of like this, but you're not. This is what I mean.
Definitely like this. 100% like this. I'm a psycho.
This is what I mean. I think, to have a healthy routine, you wake up, work out, eat, check all the things off your box, whatever. I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think for your mental health, physical health, that's great. But I also think people need to learn, though, how to deal with life when their routine gets thrown off. Like, for example, I know people that they have such a strict routine down to the second of when they wake up to when they go to bed, when they're putting food in their mouth, what they're eating, where they're going. They don't compensate for no one for nothing. It's like, this is my day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I can't stand people like that because every day is different. Like, you can control as much as you can, you know what I mean? Like, you can wake up early and work out and eat everything, but like something might happen in between. You might have to deviate. You might be late. A new plan might show up. You know what I mean? And I can't stand people that like that because guess what? Life isn't that like linear. Life's not like that. You know what I mean? You even told me that. You said life's up and down.
It's not Groundhog Day. So, okay, I see what you're saying. It says, I like to call it controlling the controllable. Whatever you can control, for when things that are out of your control happen, it's easier to deal with it. So I'm very much like that with myself, but also I'm aware that when things happen, I have to work with it. Now, that being said, I am crazy. Like I just got one of those, it's a scale. It's called a body pod.
Oh yeah.
And have you ever been to the gym and been on the, I forget what the machine is called, but you step on it, you hold the handles. Mm-hmm. It breaks down all like your body fat and all that. I love that stuff. So there's a scale that does that now. I get like this. I get so obsessed with the data and the metrics where I'm like stepping on it and I'm like, oh geez, my body fat went up 0.5%. What the hell did I do wrong yesterday? And it always, whenever I get a new toy like that, it takes me a while to kind of psych myself down from it. Yeah. Like right now I'm still in the stage of like, okay, I'm going to step on it tomorrow, and I'm just going to eat this today to see what happens, how it affects tomorrow. But that being said, the difference with me is, because I know what you're saying about those type of people, I don't care what anybody else does. I'm always like, hey, you know what? Live your freaking life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
I'm not your king. I'm not your dad. I'm not your dictator. Mm-hmm. Even with my kids, I'm like, hey, listen, this, from my experience, is a good thing to do. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. Mm-hmm. Like with my older kids, with my younger kids, I'm like, no, you're going to do this. Why? Because I'm the boss.
Well, that's different.
Yeah. I am the king.
Yeah. When they're that young, they need that iron fist a little bit.
They 100% need it. But yeah, no, I know what you're saying. There are people who like are believe me, it's funny. I always joke with my wife about whenever I get into stuff, I always say, you know what sucks about me? If I start liking something, the more I start liking it, and meet people who are into it, the less I start liking the thing, because there are always people who are just so into something that it almost like turns you off from it. So for a while I was big into CrossFit, right? But then there are like those CrossFit psychos who it's like everything they do. You know, kind of like people who are like what people say about vegans and stuff like that, where it's like you meet them and they're like, "Hi, I'm Jody. I'm a vegan." All right. We're going there already. I don't even know your last name yet.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with CrossFit people. So I would enjoy it, but then I'd meet the people who really were psycho about it, and I'm like, see, now you're not making me not.
I
not
hate
like CrossFit
I
as
hate
much.
when it becomes their whole personality.
Yeah, that's
you
the
know what I
thing.
mean.
I'm like, just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just do
like
it.
I'm enjoying like with my own like fitness journey. It's been interesting because it's been up and down for years, but this is the first time ever where it feels like I actually have a grip on it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. It's a part of my life. It's not my life. I'm not walking around like, hey guys, I just hit chest today.
Yeah,
like,
no.
blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like I it's so aggravating.
But eventually, here's what's gonna happen.
Oh my God.
No, I said this to my nephew the other day because we saw him. When did I see my nephew? It was like the holidays, and he just started working out, and he comes up and he's like, "Hey, I've been working out. I've been being pretty consistent with it." And I said, "I know." He said, "How do you know?" I go, "Because you're wearing the I just started working out and I'm feeling myself starter pack. And the very first thing in that starter pack is a size medium t-shirt with extra small sleeves."
No. I'm not gonna do
Moose,
that. I'm not.
I guarantee that once you start feeling yourself a little bit, you're gonna wear something that's a little more.
I'm telling this could be a proof right
Moose.
now.
I'm telling you, you're gonna do it. You're saying you're not gonna do it. You're gonna try and resist. But the second you start feeling, I don't know, your ass gets a little more shapely, or like your shoulders, and all of a sudden it's gonna start getting in the spring and the summer. You're gonna go to buy a shirt and be like, I'll wear this one.
I promise you, no, that's not gonna happen.
Why? Don't promise, because you're gonna do it. It's what
No.
everyone does, and it's okay. It's okay because then you'll go hard, and then you'll reel yourself back,
I have been,
or you become like a gym bro douchebag. One or the other.
I know. Here's the thing. I rebuke that. Absolutely not. I have been the same size my entire life. I have either been a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. Now, this is the first time where I'm continuously like going down the same path.
Yeah.
I guarantee I will have the exact same mannerisms, like, because I've lived my whole life with Pooch right here. So when he's officially gone,
You're gonna love it.
No, I'm gonna say, what do I do with all this extra room?
No, you're gonna say, I need a smaller T-shirt
No,
because
I don't.
Poochie's gone.
Pooch is gone. He's out of here, but I'm gonna miss him. But I don't think so. Medium. You don't even wear mediums.
Well, it depends on the day. It depends how nice it is outside. It depends what I'm feeling about myself.
And now I do walk around shirtless in my house, and I'm nowhere near that type of confidence. So I think that'll still happen.
Dude.
Like, all my family knows if you come over, Moose is like does not have a shirt on, and he's just like walking around his house.
I've had, obviously, my own family, extended family, my wife's family, random people just come to my house, and I'm like walking around, and I don't even. It's like I'm not even aware. It takes me a while when I see them go, kind of give me like a strange look, and I'm like, oh, it's what I do. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I gotta flaunt it now. You know, I gotta start to build the confidence now.
Listen, you're gonna do it, and it's okay. It's part of life.
I think, you know what, let's just get into the questions for today.
Okay, we'll get
you know, well, this was documented today, folks, on what's the date? January 24th. We'll check back in like May.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, kind of like last time, I've curated some fun things, fun topics. These, though, are a bit more thought-provoking. Okay. Last time they were fun. We had a little banter. These are a bit more thought-provoking.
Okay.
Okay, well, first off, we want an update. How's everything going? How's the morning show? How's all that? You're in your new year.
Morning show is going good. I love being syndicated in the other cities. That's going fun. What else? I mean, every day it's never boring. Good or bad or whatever, it's never boring, which I love about it. It's funny because I'll see sometimes, you know, whatever. I'll go visit my wife at her job, right? And I'll walk in and I'll see everybody in their offices or whatever doing their stuff. And it's so quiet in the office. Like, I walk in and it is so quiet with 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, there's at least 10 people. It's not a big office. And every time I walk in, I'm always like, oh my God, I could not. I mean, if I had to, whatever, to feed my family, I could do it, but I would be such a miserable person. Because I don't understand going when people talk about, like they have their 9 to 5 and they hate it. So I'm like, hold on a second. So that means you get up in the morning, basically in a bad mood because you're going to go to do something that you don't like to do. Mm-hmm. And then you leave, and chances are you're probably driving through traffic. So you're like, that compounds you being annoyed. Mm-hmm. And you get home and you have a small respite before you have to, but you're still in the back of your mind going, I got to do this crap again tomorrow. And you're doing all that up until Friday. Friday, you finally feel relaxed because you don't have to go to work Saturday. Saturday, you're relaxed. But then Sunday, you're already stressing about starting it all over again.
Sunday scaries.
I'm like, that's your life?
Yeah.
Your life is trying to fast forward from Monday to Friday every week.
And then you blink and you're 65.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't. That stuff gives me. I'm not like an anxious person.
Yeah.
But when I think of random things like that, I get anxious. I'm always like, oh my God, if I had to do this, I would be like,
yeah.
I'd have to be doing something in between the work, like while I'm at work, just to kind of,
yeah,
Do you want
to know when I realized that's where me and you are the exact same. So I worked at the airport for about 5 years while I was in college, and it was a very like physical job. Like, as you're outside, I was the guy with the orange sticks. You know what I mean? So it's you're very physical, rain or shine, heat or freezing cold, doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? You have to go outside.
Yeah.
You're picking up bags, you're moving, long days, and that until this day, and I've had some really fun opportunities in other fields of work, like very cool ones. But until this day, that was my favorite and most rewarding job. You want to know why?
I mean, in my head, for me, it would be because when you were just saying that, I'm like, that to me sounds non-boring. First thing, it's non-boring, and you're not just staying in one place. I think it's that. It's the like if you're an animal, like you feel bad for animals in the zoo because you're like, this is not what you're meant to be doing. You're
constantly stimulated.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what.
Like from you, and I worked the morning, so I would wake up at 4:45 to get ready for work, get to work by like 6, start my day like 6:30.
Yeah.
And some days I wouldn't leave till like 7, 8 if I worked like a double. Yeah. But the whole point of why I'm saying all this is because I made a promise to myself. I was like, I'm going to chase my dreams. I'm going to do what I actually want to do. But I said to myself, I'm never going to let myself fail or be in a stupid position where I'm broke or whatever. But if I had to, not give up, but if I had to put stuff on pause or if I had to pivot, I would never go to a 9 to 5. I would go to, for the longest time, I wanted to be a cop.
Oh, really?
For the longest time, if you met me in high school, that's what I was going to do. That's what all my friends, when I went to college, like, I was going to do that. Because I said to myself, all right, like civic dude, and you can have your opinion on police officers, and that's a whole other conversation. And I said, because I interned there, and it really opened my eyes.
You interned at a police station?
Yeah, so my senior year of high school, you could take an internship, which I thought was sick. Public education, we should promote that more.
100%.
I would leave my last period of school. There's 4 periods. My last one, I would leave. Either a cop would come and get me, or I would go to the police station and I would do ride-alongs. I would sit in dispatch. I would go to the drug and gang unit. Did that for 7 months.
Really?
Yeah, and because I said I found the criminal justice system extremely interesting. I thought like any form of civic duty or law enforcement was extremely interesting as well. And you're working with so many different types of people. I'll tell you.
This is Revere.
Yeah, Revere.
Okay, so that's like legit police. Like it's not like
no, we're not.
Wayland
We're not in like Wellesley. No.
Yeah,
so, but you want to know something funny? Is I worked with a cop there, and this is exactly what we were talking about. I worked with a cop there. He was just a normal traffic cop. He wasn't a lieutenant or drug and gang. Just a normal traffic cop. Yeah. He was so cool. Typical like Rivera Italian guy, like whatever. We were always like laughing and stuff, and then he would always ask me like, "Why are you here? Like, why are you here? Why are you here?" Because we would laugh and have great conversations. I was like, "Oh, I want to be a cop. Like, I'm learning. I'm interning." And he always was like, But he's like, "Are you going to college?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, don't major in criminal justice." And I said, "Why?" And he's like, "Because none of that he's like, you're going to learn that in the academy, and then you're going to learn everything when you're on the job. He's like, do something else. He's like, please, if you want to do this, he's like, get a degree in business, open up your own business, have something else on the side. And he said that for months, and I never knew why. I'm like, why is he not telling me to do this? And I remember, like, towards the end, we were getting coffee or something, and he's like, listen, he told me a story. So he was like an alcoholic pretty much in high school. He was bad. And he went into the military because he said, I had no other option. He said, I barely graduated high school, and I was either going to go be a punk or that. He goes, and he's like, now he's probably like Nicole's age, maybe like a little older. So he's like, at the time, those were your options when you were in my shoes. Either you go continue to be a punk, or your only other option was the military or work. He's like, and I went to the military. And this is what I respected about him, because, you know, obviously I respect the military and people who serve, and, you know, it's a really selfless choice. But what he said to me really struck me. I said, oh, well, how was your experience, like, being in the Marines? I think he was a Marine, or he was in the Army. I forgot. He said, oh, it's terrible. And that was the first time I've ever had someone explain that experience like that. So I was like, so normally, you know, people are like, yeah, serve my country, best thing in my life. He was like, oh, it was absolutely terrible. And I said, why? He goes, you had someone telling you when to wake up, when to piss, when to shit, when to eat, yelling at you. You're not home. You're uncomfortable. You're getting shipped off to different parts of the world. You don't talk to your family often. He goes, horrible. He goes, but he's like, it's the only thing that whipped me into shape. He's like, it's the only thing that gave me discipline and structure and taught me how to live a well-balanced life. He's like, but I'm not going to sit here and say I enjoyed being screamed at and I enjoyed getting her and all these things. He's like, I didn't enjoy any of that. He goes, but it's what... And I stopped. Then right after that, he said to me, he's like, listen to me right now. He's like, you're smarter than this. You're meant more for this. He's like, I think you're just thinking this is all you can do. He's like, but please, he's like, I can tell you have a passion for this. He's like, but please make this your last resort. He's like, because this job comes with a lot that you got to carry. He's like, and I would hate to see someone like you get tarnished with these kinds of things. Fun fact, he actually retired early.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So that was such an eye-opening thing, because to go back to what you were saying when you visited your wife's office, I saw that, and I saw their work, and I saw everything they do, and I just was like, what a way to live. You wake up. Let's be very honest. You might not know if you're coming home. Though but that's anybody, but people in that field of work, a higher percentage.
100%, yeah.
You know what I mean? What must be going on in your mind? Do you know how to do you know how to relax? Like, firemen, whatever, EMTs, like, that's such a, talk about stimulating job. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of crazy hardcore. It's a lot of going probably from like 0 to 10, 0 to 10, 0 to 10. Yeah, I mean, my sister-in-law's a police officer.
Oh.
Yeah, but she's like she does stuff on the street, but now she's mostly a student resource officer at like the middle school or whatever. But
because we're saying how those people, there's a lull and they try to just, like, you know, come down from the stress.
Yeah.
These people, their job is all stress, and they're trying to find that lull. You know what I mean?
That's why I like, with what I do, I always put in perspective. You know, Nicole will be like, oh, how was the show or whatever? And I'm like, it was good, or yeah, it could have been better or whatever. But I used to sometimes, like, I used to be hard on myself if I felt like the show wasn't good. I never feel like, oh, that was great, home run. But I'm a lot better at the perspective now, because I'm like, okay, I don't think I was that funny today. Energy wasn't that good today. But if you have like a bad day as a police officer, a firefighter, someone in the military, it could be you're not coming home. Big difference.
Or you lost someone you work with, you know what I mean? Yeah.
100%. EMT, I had a bad day. Somebody died. That could, you know, some people are going to die, but I could have saved this person and I didn't.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
exactly.
That's legit stuff.
Yeah.
So why didn't you... So that's why, because this guy?
Well, he definitely was a part of it. I also saw how corrupt...
People are people, dude.
I know. People are people, and that's where I didn't want to get into this, but like, people are people. No matter what you do, there's good and bad people. You shouldn't generalize anything. But I saw some things, and I said, wow. At like 17, 18, I was like, okay. I was like, this is the world we live in. A funny story to like change the vibe. I did a week with the drug and gang unit, so I went into their office. It was two guys. It was two. No, excuse me. It was a guy and a girl. Two detectives. Guy walks in, and I'm like sitting there because like their office has like one window and it's like shut and it's like interesting. And he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I was like, "Hey," sits down. He has this huge safe behind him. Opens it up, takes out these bags. Boom, 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 boom. He's like, "This is fentanyl. This is cocaine. This is this. This is this." He's like, "You know what this does? This does this to you, and this does that." And I'm like, 17 years old. I was like, "There's a bag of cocaine in front of me," and he's like telling me all the issues, like opioids. He's like this and that and whatever. And he's like, "Drugs are a big problem. Don't do drugs. Yada yada yada. Here are like resources." Then the girl walks in. She was this gorgeous, jet black hair. She walked in, you knew she was like a Fed or something. Like she just walked in with that confidence. Her name was. Actually, I don't want to say her name, but she came in, she was like, boom, boom. And she was so sweet, so nice, gorgeous. There was a picture behind her the entire time I didn't notice it. And we're talking how they do undercover work, and he points and he goes, that's so-and-so, and she was deep undercover. Ramiro? Oh, she looked like she was messed up in the photo.
Really?
And they had it as a memory because she like did a big drug bust in like Lynn like years ago.
Yeah.
But she went deep undercover, and if you saw her, vivacious, confident woman, that girl looked like she was like a recovering drug addict in the photo. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, he's like, "That's our job. This is what we do."
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do all that. No, but to quickly answer your question, no. I was in college. I went in as a CJ major. And I had a friend, I always loved music and entertainment and movies and stuff, and that's what I'm doing now. But I had a friend, she had to go to the radio station at our school for a project. Mm-hmm. And she said, "Can you come with me? I don't want to walk alone." It was like later in the day. I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." I go with her, and the radio station at my college was like in an underground, it was underground in a building. Mm-hmm. So I'm like walking over, and I walk in, it's like really low lighting, and they had like Christmas lights up, and it was like the back room had all vinyls and like CDs, and their main station, they had like, you know, the boards and the computers and everything, but it was very vintage. And the girl who was on doing the show there, she was the president of the radio station. She was explaining how this was a active station back in the day in Salem. So me and her are just like talking, and I'm like, "How do you get a show here?" She's like, "You just come and interview with me and I approve it." I'm like, "So you're telling me I can come here and yap for an hour?" She goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Really?" Okay. I was like, "So I'll see you like next week. We'll talk."
I'd much rather do that than save lives, get drugs off the street.
I was gonna say, interesting. I didn't know that you could do that. And yeah, I was the first. They classified it as urban. You probably would disagree because I played like Jay-Z and the Beastie Boys, but I was the first urban radio show at my college ever, and I got an award for it.
Where'd you go to college?
Salem State University.
Oh,
which is interesting in Salem. It's a pretty diverse town in college. Like I was very confused. They were like, "You're the first." I was like, "Urban? What does that mean?" I was like, "What do you mean urban?" But yeah,
very nice.
Yeah. So that's my life. What about you? You want to tell me about the last 75 years?
Give me another question.
Okay. I was just saying, we didn't even dive into these yet. We're like halfway through. Okay.
I'm going to bring that idea up to my sister-in-law, though, if they do that internship thing.
Oh, for your kids?
Nah, for my kids, for like the kids like at the school. Like,
No,
in
it's
the town she is, to do like an internship with the police or whatever.
Very eye-opening. Okay.
Yeah. But she's a police officer in Sudbury, so it's like.
You never know.
Yeah. Can you turn your music down? Can you tell your dog to be quiet?
Okay, this is actually, we'll skip to this one because it's kind of relevant to our conversation now. Okay. If you could go back in time to the day you got your first job in radio, do you think there's one instance, one conversation, one thing that could have happened where you would not be where you are today? Meaning, if you didn't pick up a phone call, you didn't bump into somebody.
To just get my first job?
Yeah, so you've told me your story on how on your first day. Is there something on that day that you think if you didn't do, you wouldn't be here right now?
Yeah, I mean, I was only... Okay, so the only reason I basically got that opportunity was there was my first job was at Fun 107. It was while I was interning at Jammin'. There was a girl at Jammin' named Christine Fox who was the music director at Fun 107. She was like weekends at Jammin' and music director at Fun 107. I know the reason that I got the opportunity to come in and try out was because of her. I know it was because I was calling radio stations right and left, and they were all, nope, we're good. And she knew that I was trying to get something, and Fun 107 is not a big radio station. And
Yeah.
I know she talked to the program director. I know she did. So thank you, Christine.
Yeah, shout out Christine.
Because I know you did that. So I know that that's why he was like, yeah, come in and I'll try you out. But when I went to try out, I was only supposed to be on for an hour. And the guy who was there, Scott, was like, dude, whatever, man. He's like, I'm going to go take a nap on the couch. He goes, JR gets up at 4. Just go on from midnight to 4. So there was like a lot of little random, things that helped out with there. But I know if it wasn't for Christine saying, give this kid a chance because he really wants to do it. She couldn't even be like, he's good. She's like, he really wants to do it. Give him an opportunity. I know that, who knows? I probably wouldn't. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing.
Okay.
Other than that, I mean, throughout my career, there's been a ton of things where it's like, okay, if this didn't happen at this point, then this wouldn't have happened months or years later, which led to this,
Okay.
But
so would you say then you had a choice in what you did, or do you think, your cards were just dealt to you?
is this the whole, like, is life fate, or do you have freedom of choice or whatever?
I mean, if you want to interpret it that way, you can.
I believe that in the end, whatever your end is, everything will. Okay, a marathon is a course, right? 26.2 miles. You have to run this course to run those 26.2 miles. This is the start. This is the finish. I believe everyone has whatever start line and a certain finish line in their life in all different aspects. Relationship, career, all that stuff. Everyone will eventually get to that finish line that's meant for them. They might not know it's meant for them, and they might not run the exact course that's mapped out. But I think that I most likely would have ended up where I ended up now, or a reasonable facsimile from all the things that I kind of did during my life. So I think it's kind of like choice, but at the end of the day, it's everything leads into the next thing.
Do you believe that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing?
I think about that all the time.
Whoa.
I think about that all the time.
Big one at you.
No, I do. I think about that all the time, and I do believe it because every opportunity that I've gotten and everything I've done has been somehow, it's branched off from this.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything I've done, the MMA stuff I'm doing, every TV stuff I've done, it's all somehow branched off from this. So, yeah. And I think anything I'll do in the future, it'll be basically because of this.
Well, what do you believe your purpose is then?
Oh, I got a million things for my purpose. I don't think, I think a lot of people think they have one purpose. I believe you have different. You could break down your purpose into different things. You could break it down relationship-wise, career-wise,
Because
health-wise. Career-wise, I think my purpose. That's a great question. Now I think it's more to help people, not necessarily who are trying to get into radio or things of that nature, but help people who might be at a certain point in life with me just sharing certain life, not giving advice, but sharing certain life experience that might give them a little perspective change or a different point of view on stuff.
Okay.
Or it might make them think of something that they just never thought of.
Yeah.
I think, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I always say it with Nicole, like, she'll come if she's venting about something. If it's something that I've never, like, there are some people who are quick to drop advice on shit that they know nothing about. I grew up with so many people that gave me advice on things that they never experienced.
Yeah.
Ever. And at the time, I didn't know. And I'm like, all right, that kind of makes sense. And then, like, as time went on, I'm like, hold on a second. Why would this person know about that when they've never done it? Like, but they're so sure. Don't do it this way or whatever. But it's funny. Like, whenever if Nicole comes home or something and there's something she's venting about, I'll kind of start cycling in my head. Can I relate to what it is that she's, talking about? And there are times that I'm like, oh my God, I went through basically the same thing with this, and this is what I did, and this is what happened. It didn't work out. So I don't know, maybe don't do that. Or this is what I did and it did work out. So maybe you want to try that. Or the next level of that is something similar. I didn't go through that exactly, but I did kind of go through this. And when this happened, I reacted this way, or I did this, and this is what happened. And if it's something that I literally have zero, I just can't find something to relate to her, I'm like, I literally will say to her, I'll be like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think? What are some options that you think you could do for this? But I never drop this is the way to live your life. I've made so many freaking mistakes. I can't tell anyone what to do with their life. Mm-hmm. Even with my kids and stuff, I'll tell them, I try and give them like concepts, but I don't give them this is exact, follow this plan.
You
step
aren't
one,
like that
step
at all.
two.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I'm like, there's certain things you just have to learn for yourself. And everyone has a different way of learning.
Yeah.
Some people
share your experience, but you're never like, this is what you need to do because this is what you like. No, you're not like that at all.
And I'll see people doing that all the time. And I'm like, yo, how do you? Well, because, one of my favorites is people who like always sucked at relationships are like, well, no, I give the best advice because, I know what not to do. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. You've been divorced 6 times, whatever. But you still haven't figured it out how to do it right for yourself.
Yeah.
So how can you tell someone, no, this is the way to do because this is what I did and I fucked up? There is a little, I see a little value in that, but it doesn't mean doing the opposite of what you do is going to guarantee victory because you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like somebody who's like, have you ever opened a business, started a business?
No.
So if I were to start a business and I have the option of asking you how to start a business versus somebody who like maybe who has a business, they've tried with a couple businesses and failed or whatever, but they have a business. They're kind of like where I want to be. Who do you think would make more sense?
I would tell you, why the hell are you asking me?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would have the first time I bought a 2-family house, I had everybody and their mother who never was a landlord. They've always been a tenant, never was a landlord. They were like, no, don't do that. Why? It sucks. Because tenants suck. I'm like, why? Because you sucked?
Yeah.
I go, I'm sure that because people are people. They're going to be sucky tenants. But by virtue, if you're saying that there's sucky tenants, there has to be good tenants.
Yeah.
You try and stack the deck in your favor.
Another question I have that goes along with this topic is, do you believe that you're meant to meet certain people in this life, or do you believe, you just go about living whatever? Because I met people kind of say on the same topic. I met people who believe, like just freelance. I go about my life and whatever. But I believe, me personally, I believe not you attract, but you are. I think you're destined to meet certain people for a certain reason and for a certain time. To give you an example or like a idea of what I'm saying, I met this person who gave me a great opportunity to do something. Amazing opportunity. Rocked my world. Always dreamed of this opportunity. And they believed in me wholeheartedly. They believed in me. When I finally got that opportunity and I got the yes, it changed my perspective completely. Instead of being excited, I started to doubt myself. I was like, oh, it was total imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit. I was like, can I even do this? The experience didn't go well, but from meeting this person, I realized, and this is something I think you have that I really hope to have one day. I'm trying to get there. If someone acknowledges your talent or if someone acknowledges you, like, you should believe them. if you've worked on something, if you're a painter, you're an artist, whatever you do, and someone says that's really good or what you do is really good, you should look them dead in the face and say, yes, it is. Thank you. I worked really hard on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for you, I mean, you've been entertaining people for years now. When people come up and meet you at events, they're like, oh, so nice to meet you. I listen to you every single day. What is that interaction for you? Because you meet so many people like that every day where, they're pouring their love out for you. But switch it for a second. Has someone ever looked at you and been like, hey, like, here's this opportunity, or like, hey, here's this, and they saw you? Think back to like 30 years ago. Kind of like that girl you brought up, but a little bit more deeper than that.
Has somebody ever...
Like, has someone ever crossed your path where you're like, I was supposed to meet that person?
See, I believe, to the original question you asked, I think that every interaction you have is important in your life in some way, shape, or form.
Everyone?
Every single one. Us having this conversation right now is for a reason. If on the way to my car, I run into somebody, I'm just walking past somebody. Oh, on the way in the building when I was just coming in. It's funny because at this time of day, like, I don't come into the building. I usually leave the building, but I went to get a haircut and came back, and I'm walking in and I'm seeing a bunch of cars and people that I've never seen before that all work in this building, but like I've just never come across because our, we just have different clocks. So anyway, I saw this dude. He was walking down the garage, and I was walking up, and I nodded at him, and smiled and said hello. And he's like, "Oh, hi." That happened for a reason. What is the reason? I don't know. The dude might be starting his day, felt like shit, and somebody smiling at him and nodding. You know what? I changed shifted him a little bit.
Yeah.
And now he might pay it forward to someone else.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I think like every interaction and stuff, it builds upon itself. You might not think it, but I 100. It's funny. One time I went to dinner with a group of friends, and it's like sometimes you go to dinner with friends, and then like friends of friends come, and me and where I just happened to be sitting was with a friend of my friend, and we got into like this deep conversation like this, and he's like, we're meant to be sitting here right now talking to each other, having this conversation. Those people that are behind us right now, they're meant to be walking behind us at this moment, wherever they're going. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It really does. So I think it's more like that. I think it's just more like every person you come across that's meant to happen. And it might not be much to you, like I said, but there's been times where I've been having kind of a crap day and someone will smile at me and I'm like, okay, the world doesn't hate you.
Yeah.
That's all in your head. And it might not, I mean, you see like in TV and stuff where it's like the guy's ready to he's having the shitty day. He's ready to murder somebody. And the girl that gives him coffee smiles and calls him sweetheart. And he's like, I will not kill today. Sometimes it's not that extreme.
Yeah.
But it's just like, sometimes just like a little bit of a little pivot. Like when you're teaching a kid to ride a bike, you don't grab the bike and launch it. You let the kid ride the bike, and if they're steering off, you just grab the handles and straighten them out a little bit, and then let them keep going. I think that's like kind of how life is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those interactions, good and bad, they're not all good. Sometimes you might have a really bad one, and then you're like, and that might wake you up, and you're like, oh,
yeah, 100% good. Yeah. You need the bad to appreciate the good. Mm-hmm. You just need it. Yeah. Otherwise, if everything is good, then that's the new baseline of bad. Does that make sense? Yeah, that
makes total sense, yeah.
And then and then something else that isn't that bad is going to be really, really bad. Mm-hmm. When a few weeks ago you were like, oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. It's if you think about what I'm saying, it'll make sense.
No, it absolutely does make sense.
I always say it to my friends who were like, if we could only have everybody be nice and whatever. And I said I go, you need assholes in this world. What do you mean? I don't agree. And I said, you don't have to agree, but if everybody was always nice and super pleasant to each other, that is the absolute baseline of now people being shitty to each other. Mm-hmm. So someone's going to have to go above and beyond being nice, or else you're going to be like, that person's a piece of shit. And that's not going to be, you're not going to make that conscious decision overnight. It's not going to
No.
go Monday 1 2. It's going to be like over time.
Yeah.
Just like everything else. That's just the way we're wired. We're wired to appreciate this because of this, and to have opposites and things like, because we're humans. We're not robots.
I think that's a concept that's kind of that it's a bit more present now. When you were talking about that, it made me think of like, like when kids, they're in like school. I don't want to say it doesn't happen anymore, but I feel like it was more of a conversation back in the day with like bullying and stuff.
Yeah.
They always said like, oh, the bully, they have it worse than you, and there must be some monsters they're battling on the inside. I'm like, yeah, but you can't say that concept to a child.
Oh no,
like they're not gonna like comprehend.
Adults don't understand.
Adults don't. Yeah, exactly.
It's like the saying is, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And there are adults who are like, no, that person's just a piece of shit. And I'm like, okay, so if it's somebody you like, you're like, well, you don't understand. They grew up like this. I go, but the person that you consider a piece of shit, you're just like, oh, they're just a piece of shit. Maybe they had a great childhood. They decided to be a piece of shit.
Here's the thing. I agree with you up until the point of this is I can be extremely empathetic, and I can sit down with someone and like really understand their point. I might not agree with you, but I can now see it from your perspective and why your actions might have occurred the way they did. Doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah.
But I have such a low tolerance though for someone who's been like, like we've acknowledged your wrongs many times and you're still a prick.
Oh yeah.
It's like I had a teacher when I was in 5th grade. I got very bullied. We're not going to get into that, but I remember him telling, it never left my mind. He sat me down and I was so upset and I was like complaining about something, and he's like, Mustafa, he's like, you know what, man? He's like, some guys, they're just mean, and you got to let them be mean, and you got to ignore them. He's like, and you can't do anything about it. I remember just sitting there. I'm like, so what you're telling me is I'm just going to get tortured then?
Yeah.
I was like, that's what you're saying. I can tell you exactly what he was wearing. That interaction never left my mind, because that's not something you need to tolerate. If you've gone, like, let's keep it in the basis of like children. If you go to a child and you tell them what you're doing is wrong many times and they're still not comprehending and listening, there needs to be another way to enter this topic. Different way.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I'm not saying the child could have a very bad home life. They could have mental health issues, whatever their situation is. But to just let someone just like,
No, you absolutely don't. But that's why we're all human. Everyone has different. If we were all robots, you just go, oh, flip, like a video game. Just turn, you want a faster, just crank up his speed and turn down this. It's like crank up his niceness and turn down his aggression.
That's why I think when I have kids a long time from now, I think that's one thing I'm never going to tolerate. I don't care if your parent could care less. Like, then it'll be like, that's not words. I don't condone violence. I do not condone violence and fighting, but words hurt more than a punch. I'm sorry. If two of your sons get into a little tussle because someone took their action figure and they get over in 5 minutes and they shake hands, no harm, no foul. In my opinion, I don't condone anything bad, but words have way more of a lasting power.
Really?
I think you have to really watch what comes out of your mouth.
I disagree with that to a point.
Okay.
I think, like if my kids come and they're like, oh, this kid said this about me. And I said, okay. And I said, if you let it bother you, it's going to bother you. If you don't let it bother you, guess what? It's not going to bother you. So I'm more of the, sticks and stones may break my bones or whatever.
Yeah.
That being said, though, it depends on who. Like if some punk in school is saying something to me, I'm like, all right, whatever. I think that. Great. You're happy. Enjoy your day. I'm not going to let it give me space because now I'm giving them power. That being said, I think it's when it's like somebody close that you respect, you love, like a parent or something like that doing it, I think that's when it has a little more.
Well, yeah, of course. That's a different type.
But the other way, I respect your opinion, but I don't agree. I'm like, okay, you're letting the other person, you're letting them. It's the equivalent of like there's a noise going on outside your house, and closing the window all of a sudden is going to make the noise like a lot less, or you won't hear it. Close the window. Don't leave it open and go, Jesus, can you freaking turn off your mower? Jesus, I can't believe that guy's doing it. No.
But I think with a child though, it's a little bit different.
It's a lot different, but I'm trying to say that to them now because I know when they get older now, the older you get, the more self-conscious you get about stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm trying to hit them with that now because I know when they get older and teenagers and start walking in a room and start thinking that everyone's looking at them when they're not because everyone else is thinking the same thing about themselves, it's going to be a little more of a challenge if someone says something.
Well, I had to learn I had to learn it later in life. You know what I mean? But I'm saying though, me personally, like, I don't know. I just don't think I'm not going to tolerate. Like if one of my, or even my niece or my nephew, if they ever told me like someone said something horrible to them at school and the teacher didn't do anything or they kind of like brushed it off, like I will gladly pull up. Gladly. And I will tell the parent one time like what happened. And if they show zero, I will gladly activate right then and there.
Yeah. And it all depends on, again, what the thing is.
Even for other people though, like if I ever saw like, I know no one would do it to you, well maybe, but like if anyone ever started coming at you, like I would wait a minute and like see what's going on. You might not let it phase you, but I'm not gonna let someone speak to someone you like love and appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like
right. See, my favorite words are I always say this. I'm like, if you just hit somebody when they're saying whatever they say to you, if you hit them with, all right, that's cool, you're not my role model, there is zero that they can say that's going to refute that. What are they going to say? I should be your role model? Well, I don't think you should be.
You don't think that you should tell someone that they're an asshole every now and then?
Oh, I said, one time, this was years ago. I was at, this was at Jammin', and I remember I walked into the promotions department and one of the girls in there, I don't know, man, maybe she was having a bad day or whatever, but she just started coming at me for no reason, and I stayed staring at her and she's making jokes and cracking, and it was a day too where I was kind of like not in the mood to mess around. You know how I get. I'll be like 10 messing around, and then when I go to get serious, I'm like, all right, no more messing around. We must stop because I have determined it's time to stop.
That's so true. But I'll change my whole body language. I'm like,
so she was making the jokes, and I was standing with Santi because he would always bring it up, be like, yo, I'll never forget the time you said that. So she's making jokes, haha, sitting at her desk, and I paused, she paused, and I paused, and I said,
I know this.
I said, no, keep going, because just let me know when it's my turn. The second I said that, because I'm like, as soon as you're done, it's gonna be my turn to say not mean things. But you know what? A lot of I realize this now, and it took me until I started. No. It took me until basically I started working at the radio station and meeting people from different areas and different backgrounds to realize it. The way I grew up, my family was extremely self-deprecating, and we just harassed the hell out of each other. Kind of like what your typical group chat full of dudes is, where everyone's just completely roasting each other, but no one takes it serious.
That's your love language,
That's how I grew up. I'm talking about like from my parents to my cousins.
Your environment,
My entire environment was like that. So I remember when I first started working and interacting on a regular basis with people from different areas and different backgrounds, I would say certain things, and sometimes they'd like react in a different way, or they would never just be like, oh, you're being mean, but they would like, and I would say something where I'm like, oh, this is gonna be funny, and they would like not laugh and kind of like be a little turned off. And it took me a while to be like, wait a minute, oh wait, they didn't grow up the way I grew up. Everyone kind of, they might be a little more sensitive to this situation that I'm like, whatever. It's levels. It took me a while to figure that out.
I'm not there yet, but I will be.
Yeah, it took me a while because I'm like, that. Think about that. That's all I knew for like 18 years.
Yeah.
Throughout school, like every part of my environment was everybody roasting. Even to this day, when me, if myself and my cousins, or my sister will stay over my house or whatever, if we get together, it's just freaking
full on roast.
Full on roast, but like
Yeah.
she'll say something harassing me and I'm laughing about it.
Yeah.
I'll say something harassing her. She'll laugh about it. She'll say something harassing herself. And it's funny because I remember when I first got with Nicole and I started meeting kind of her group of friends, I would say to her, I like him. I like him. I like her. I don't like him. I don't like her, whatever. And she would say, why? And it took me a while to figure it out. And then I said, you know what it is? I go, the people I liked immediately would do something or say something self-deprecating about themselves.
Yeah.
The other ones were kind of like a little guarded and had this image thing. And I go, I don't like, if you want to immediately, if you want to immediately like break that, and everyone has different, I call it like friend barriers.
Yeah.
Like where you go from like acquaintance to like, oh shit, we could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
For me, if you want to do the we could be kind of cool thing, it's make fun of yourself in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Once you do that, I'm like, all right, we're cool.
Yeah.
We're cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
he has one joke with me that I won't answer his text back. It's when he brings up a certain shoe size, and I'm like, all right.
Moose has little feet, and
they're not that small. I
always say, if you want to borrow my 5-year-old's shoes when he's done with them, you can.
And do I send him a gif of Bane from Batman every single time he says that? Because that's who he's gonna get one day when he keeps bringing this topic up. But you're right. Yeah.
But that's me like roasting you. But you've already done stuff. I can't even think of an example, but you've already done stuff earlier when you were like, oh, when my pooch goes away.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be like a big thing. It's just like something funny like that. And I'm like, all right, we're
exactly.
cool.
Yeah. But you're so right. But I'm just to wrap this topic up. I'm sorry. I'm just one of those people where I will give you a couple chances, and you know this about me. I will give you a chance. Yeah. There are some people that walk in this door and I give them a full chance. By the end of it, I'm like, I don't like you.
Yeah.
But if you're just an asshole,
oh yeah,
sometimes you gotta let people know that they're not cool or funny or like whatever. Like I just hate someone that just like, ugh, they just exude like ugh. Like I can't say
energy.
Yeah, I'll sit there and I'm like,
yeah, I just avoid like if it's somebody who
I wish I could.
Yeah, see. You're creating the extreme example though of like you're trapped in a room with this person and they're just being nonstop asshole. Like for the most part, you could be like, I mean, there are some situations where you're like, oh, I got to deal with this asshole as much as possible. I mean, I got to deal with this asshole consistently. When it comes to stuff like that, what I just do is absolutely minimize my dealing with. If I must deal with them, all right, I will deal with them when I have to, and then immediately bounce on it. And like I won't even address it, but at the same time, I separate like on whether or not I like people until like I don't care what race, what nationality. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care what you identify as. None of those mean anything to you. Are you cool with me or are you an asshole?
Yeah, you're right.
If you're an asshole, you could be any of those things. If you're cool with me, you could be any of those things. And I remember when I was younger, I realized that because I think we talked about something when Guavo was here, the Puerto Rican Dominican thing.
Yeah.
And I remember I would say to my friends and stuff, I'd be like, hold on a second. By what you're saying, I'm supposed to like every Puerto Rican because they're Puerto Rican. And I don't like every Puerto Rican that I've come across. Some of them are assholes. But am I supposed to like them all? Well, no, if they're an asshole. All right, then why? What's the difference if I meet a Dominican who's not an asshole?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying my logic. It works for me.
It works for me. The last question we'll end today on, because we gotta beat the traffic, folks. This is fun. It's 2025. Now I'm gonna predict something I think is gonna happen for you, and you're gonna predict something that you think is gonna happen for me. Let me go first so you can see what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think
this is great.
That either in the next year or in the next couple years, I think you're going to reach. It's going to be so funny if this comes true. I'm looking at the camera now. This is going to be a nice time capsule. I think you are going to step into a new role that I think you didn't even expect yourself to be good at or do. I think you're going to do something a bit more bigger. I think you're going to, I mean, you're Ramiro. I don't know how big you can get here in Boston radio, but like, I think you're going to step into something a bit more, because I think looking at your pattern now that you started hosting all the MMA stuff and your podcast and your things, I just feel like you have something coming where you're going to get an opportunity And it's really going to be something you weren't expecting, but I think I think all the culminations of the things you love is going to fit properly in what is coming. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like maybe like WWE related or like something like that, but I think something is coming where you're finally going to be able to take all those parts of those things that you love and it's going to fit perfectly.
Okay.
I think I have a feeling that it's coming in this year.
Wow. Okay.
I have a feeling about
like
it.
that.
I do. I really do. I all I see is just like you with the mic and like in an arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, my prediction for you, I feel like you are going to kick it up to the next level career-wise. But not where you want to be, but it's going to be, everything goes up in levels. And then like when you start looking back on your life and your career, you're like, oh wow, that was a pretty big like step. Like if you almost like a staircase, you're like, oh shit, I jumped a couple steps on that. I took a big step, you know? I think you're going to hit one of those, but it's still not going to be like the thing, but it'll be a big step towards leading you towards a big step that will get you in the direction towards whatever it is that you end up doing. Relationship-wise, I'm still debating. I already told you what my prediction for your relationship. You're either gonna get a woman who's like, you know, in the 8 to 10 year older range than you,
I don't know about that.
or you're gonna get it. It's gonna be 8 or 10 years down the road, and you're gonna get a girl who's like, all right, I've been with every piece of shit that society has told me I'm supposed to be with. Now I'm going to try it. Now I'm going to end up. You're going to be, okay, this is the way I described Nicole when we got married. I said, you're everything that I wanted, but didn't realize existed. By that, I mean, just like sometimes when you're just like, oh my God, if I could just have somebody who was this, and had this, and then things that you didn't even think about in that package, I feel like you're going to be like that for somebody. You're going to be something that where she's like, and she might even not be able to verbalize it like that, but she'll be like, I can't believe this guy exists. Like, what is his flaw? You know, like he's attractive to me because you're ugly. No, I'm kidding. No, she's gonna be like, he's attractive to me. Like he makes me laugh.
Melissa says I smell good and I'm handsome all the time.
No, all that shit though. But they'll be like, you know, he's like, he smells good. He supports me. He knows. This is the biggest thing that I say about my wife. Okay, there are times that people are in a relationship. It could be like boyfriend, girlfriend type of thing, or just friends. And someone's going through something and the other person's like, all right, I think in this moment they want to hear, I don't want to tell them this, but I think this is what they want to hear. So I'm going to tell them this. That's nice. You know, they're like really thinking about what you need in that moment. That's phenomenal. A higher level of that, I think my wife does, where she just naturally, she doesn't think about it. She'll just say something to me, and I'll always say to her, I don't understand how you know exactly what I need to hear when I need to hear it. I could be pissed, and she'll say something that, and I could be pissed, and she'll say something where she's like, kind of going, yeah, but look at it from this side, or she might be agreeing with me, but like she just always knows what to say at the right moment, but she does it naturally, which is a big difference from someone who has to step back and they're like, all right, I want to tell him to shut up and stop being a bitch, but he doesn't need to hear that right now. She doesn't do it that way. She just naturally does it. Mm-hmm. So again, I think you're going to be somebody else's Nicole.
I'm going to be somebody else's Nicole. Okay.
Yeah. Like you're going to be everything that they've always wanted, but didn't know / believe existed.
That's probably the nicest thing you've ever said. You are not an asshole.
That's what I said to. Oh my God, dude, I'm so not an asshole, and people they have an image of me as an asshole.
I know you heard it here first, folks. Ramiro, formerly the freaking Puerto Rican, is not an asshole.
Yeah, but don't ruin my image because on air I gotta keep a little bit of asshole.
Do you have merch from back in the day with that logo?
Freaking Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm sure that there's do I personally have any? I don't know. Maybe somewhere in a box.
Is it copyrighted?
But is freaking Puerto... Did I ever copyright? I don't think I did.
Well, your wife's a lawyer. I mean, you should do that.
I probably should,
So
yeah.
get some merch. Anyways, folks, you want to sign us off?
Yeah, is that it?
That's it.
Is that it? All right. Like and subscribe. And if, by the way, if you have any questions, send it to...
passionprojectpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you. Thank you, Moose. And that's it. Any questions, comments, concerns, whatever.
Any people, this is probably I'm going to make an official reel right here. Folks, if you have anyone interesting that you think would be a great guest on the Passion Project podcast, you can DM us now or email us at passionprojectpodcasts@gmail.com.
I'm looking for I would love to speak to a Tony Robbins type of human development person.
I'll start crying here.
I would love to speak to a psychic. Like, I mean, I know we had Melissa with the tarot cards, but I'm talking about somebody who can speak to somebody on the other side. I would love to do that. I would love to talk to a coach. I might be able to get
Like athletic coach?
a coach
Like
of a
sports?
big team. Yeah. So
okay.
I got one of my daughter's friends. Her dad is the assistant coach for Penn State, which freaking this year they like almost made it to the championship. We just couldn't coordinate our schedules because their schedules are insane.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like I saw him at was it prom or one of those things. He just happened to be here. We talked about it. He was like, "Yeah, let's do it." His name is Frank Leonard, but by the time I reached out to him, he was like, back in Pennsylvania. Sorry. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, you were here for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Somebody like that. And yeah, I would love to get some sort of, when you said the WWE thing, I would love to get like a wrestler or something like that, because they have just the crazy schedules, and you want to talk about somebody chasing their passion. It's like they're beating the crap out of themselves just to make other people boo or cheer, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that. All right, that's it. Thank you very much, guys.